Today, the moon goes into Gemini in the morning, and at least my time, so early in the morning, US Pacific time. And with the moon in Gemini, we have the time in the zodiac where we focus on gathering information. So, opening your curiosity, exploring new things that you have to learn that are going to support you moving forward on your path. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Thursday, April 11th, and happy spring. So excited. I went for a walk yesterday and just saw all the spring flowers out. It's so beautiful to remember really that each of us in our own way is a flower, right? Opening in all of our beauty, in all of our vulnerability, and we have to trust and believe in ourselves to really allow ourselves to blossom in that way. So this is the path of trusting ourselves, supporting ourselves, believing in ourselves to continue on the journey that is heading to places we may not know yet, but we can certainly affirm that we are going to align with the highest possibilities and that things may unfold on the way that could help us in different ways. And we don't always know what that is going to look like. So with today's Gemini moon and thinking about curiosity, I wanted to also touch on we've had actually this week several conjunctions. We've been talking about the conjunction of pairs of planets, and today there is a conjunction between Mercury and the Sun. Monday there was a conjunction between the Sun and the Moon that came together for a new moon and an eclipse. Yesterday there was a conjunction between Mars and Saturn. And on the 20th, there is an exact conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus. So what is a conjunction and what does it mean for, how we think about things? And so simply, and I won't go into a huge amount of detail here, but just to kind of maybe give you a little bit more something to sink your teeth into in terms of your mental understanding of how all this works, that might take us just a little bit deeper than the superficial answers you see on the internet. So a conjunction is simply the coming together of two planets, similarly to the way that two hands on a clock come together, right? So at when both the minute hand and the hour hand are in the same minute, that would be a conjunction of the minute hand and the hour hand. And so you have both hands moving around the clock. Hopefully some of you remember what the hands of a clock are. It's not just the digital numbers, but anyway, a clock face, right, has the hands moving around. So the hour hand moves slowly, right? It takes an hour to get from one number to the next. It takes 12 hours to go all the way around the clock. The minute hand, of course, takes is faster, right? It takes 1 hour to go all the way around. So hopefully you can picture that. Not that hard of a concept. There are going to be points every hour, right? It's going to be an hour and then a little bit more, because as the minute hand goes around, the hour hand has moved a little bit, and the minute hand comes around and meets the hour hand a little bit more than once every hour. So that is the same idea as how the planets work. So they go around the zodiac, which is, again, what we see from our perspective here on Earth. So what we would see if we were thinking from the perspective of the sun, and watching the planets orbit around the sun from outside the solar system point of view, that would be a little bit different. So what we see on the Earth, from the Earth, which is where we are most of the time, is we would see the planets moving around the zodiac. And because we are on Earth and Earth is also moving, we sometimes see the planets move retrograde, even though, of course, they're not going backward in their orbits. They're just going backward from our perspective through a different region of the sky. They go forward and backward and forward in a particular region of the sky. So when planets are conjunct, that is when they meet in the zodiac. They come together. Simply put, really easy idea, the coming together of two planets. So one is moving faster, the other is moving slower. Because all the planets move at different rates, we always have this experience of planets going apart from each other and then coming back to each other, just like the clock hands. And then when they come together, what happens is their energies merge. And so they kind of they come together for a period of time. As they merge together, they operate together, they function together. So somebody who is born with a conjunction of two planets in their natal chart has the energy of those two planets merged. So in other words, you cannot understand how one functions or operates or shows up in their life without including the other one, because they are merged together. So what happens for us when these conjunctions happen is, and I talk about it a lot, as a seed time, right? So it's the ending of a cycle and it's the beginning of a cycle. That's how cycles work. They end and an old one ends and a new one begins, I guess you could say. So on Monday, the sun and moon came together in a conjunction. That's the new moon. Yesterday, Saturn and Mars, well, technically Mars came together with Saturn because Mars is the faster moving planet. And today, April 11th, Mercury has a conjunction with the sun. It comes together with the sun. Mercury is retrograde, is going back across where the sun is. So the energy of Mercury comes together with the energy of the sun. They are for a period of time merged together. In other words, communication merges together with identity. So communication is Mercury, identity is the sun. Again, this is very simply put. There's a lot more nuance to it, and you can look at what sign it's in. And in this particular case, of course, they're both in Aries. So as the sun and Mercury come together, we have our identity, I guess, coming through the ways that we communicate. The ways that we process information are going to be tempered by our own perspective, right? Our own way of creating and shining in the world, which is the sun. And Aries is going to be very spontaneous, direct, and what's the other word I was using yesterday? Spontaneous and direct and impulsive. I think that was it. So in other words, these coming together. And now you might have heard, I don't know how much of other astrology you watch on the internet, but I saw some things that had to do with Mars and Saturn conjunction and how we might feel frustrated, or so Mars is the energy of movement, of action. Saturn is the energy of limitation. So you can see how, in one way of looking at it, that could feel like frustration, trying to move and running up against your limitations. Yeah, frustration for sure. That's one possibility. But also we have to think about what the energies and qualities of these two planets are and what it might look like when they are really operating together. So Mars working with Saturn means Saturn is saying, okay, why is there a limitation with Saturn, right? It's saying you can get stronger. You can do this better. And so I'm going to put this limitation in the way so that you can grow, so that you can get pushed beyond your limits to get creative, to figure out how to do this, to figure out how to take action and move in the world. And so Saturn is asking us to get clear about who we are, to take action in ways that are more methodical, that are more grounded, that are more thought through, that are purposeful, that are having to do with creating a foundation. So thinking about Mars and Saturn together in Pisces, there's a lot of possibility when you start to get beyond the simplistic answer of you're going to feel frustrated, and you start to see, oh, there's a lot more to it. We could actually be really working with this energy in a way that it's asking us to align. So Pisces is about the bigger picture. So it's asking us to align more with the bigger picture, to listen to our spiritual guidance, our heart's truth, and to implement, right? There's a good way of Mars and Saturn coming together. It's saying get practical with Saturn, but also don't hold back with Mars. So what does it look like to make something, to take the action, put in the effort, put in the Saturnian hard work with your Mars energy to put something in place that you want to see grow and develop and strengthen over time and be a system or an infrastructure that's going to be a container and hold something that's important to you. So now we can look at the Saturn or the Mars Saturn conjunction more in just not just it's going to make us feel frustrated, but from this bigger picture of what is it actually asking of us. And so what does that look like to get more purposeful, more practical, more serious in our actions, and to put our work and our effort into something that will pay back, I guess, in terms of like it's an investment, right? It's an investment of our time, of our energy, and of that fire and that will that we have. We want to be putting it toward something that can grow and serve and support us over time. So that's an example of how you can of how a conjunction it might have a meaning a little bit deeper than what you hear on the internet. So we talked a little bit too about today's conjunction between Mercury and the Sun. And since the moon is in Gemini today, is a perfect time to gather information, open your mind, be curious, explore, and get the learning and the resources that you need that are going to support you in embarking on this path, right? We set our intentions on Monday with the Aries new moon and solar eclipse, beginning of this moon cycle. And so this is the part, right? Yes, the last 2 days when the moon was in Taurus was the part where we got grounded, get into our bodies, take care of ourselves, give ourselves the nourishment, and invest in our connection with the earth. And then now the moon goes into Gemini. So we're continuing on the same path, but now the emphasis shifts to how we get curious, how we explore information, learn new things, ask questions, talk things through, write things out. Those are all good Gemini moon activities. So thinking in terms of language, communication, ideas, processing our thoughts, and of course, learning new things. So open your mind. There may be something out there that you haven't thought of yet that can support you in your path and your process to step into the future and move forward, which is what we've been talking about here, how to align with the future highest possibilities and manifest and stay on your path from that place. If you're interested in this whole subject about cycles and planets, I have a book called Cycles of Healing that goes in depth on all of that. So if you're really interested in learning more, maybe today's the day to purchase my book or pick it up if you already bought it. I know some of you have, but you know, to have a way to expand your mind and learn new things. Maybe astrology is part of your path. I think it really is part of our ways. It's a tool for the future, right? It's a tool for how we can live our lives in expanded ways and support ourselves from more of this positive growth perspective. Thank you so much for being here. You can find more information about my book. It's available on Amazon. You check out my website, astrologyheals.com. I finally put my book up there on Astrology Heals. I still ask you to buy it through Amazon. I get royalties from Amazon, so I still get your support that way. But it's much easier for me when I don't have to do any shipping and so on. So thank you so much for your support. And check out more about what I do at astrologyheals.com. Thanks for being here and for your curiosity. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.